How are you feeling? You got John Riggs here. I thank you for watching, and recently on the Metal Jesus Rocks channel, I showed the Metal Jesus 10 of my most favorite puzzle games of all time for various systems. Now, I have a whole lot more favorite puzzle games than that, but I wanted to keep the list on his channel just quick and concise and, narrowed down to about 10 games or so. So several games didn't quite make the cut. So I figured on this channel, I may as well show you some of the games that didn't quite make the cut. So these are still some of my favorite puzzle games, again, for various systems as well. And without any further ado, let's check them out. Now, first up here is a game called Chu Man Foo for the TurboGrafx 16. Now, first of all, what caught my attention to this game when it first came out was the name. I mean, it's called Chu Man Foo. Now, the Fu Manchu, if you're not familiar, is that ancient, kind of stereotypical Chinese mustache, from the olden days, where it'd be like, got the mustache, but then it would droop down, like actually hang off your face because your handlebars would droop down so low. That's kind of the Chu Man Foo, or the Fu Manchu, rather. But then this is called Chu Man Foo, which I think is hilarious. And it's a simple, like a box pushing game. Kind of like a Boxel, only on this one you can pull, you can push and pull, and actually push these balls around the corner too. And these balls are also your attack method, where you can kick them out of the way to make the enemies die, pretty much. So you have to put the colored ball onto the colored platform and then move on to the next stage. And it's just highly addicting, very, very fun. I love TurboGrafx 16, love the colors and everything. But Chu Man Foo for the TurboGrafx 16. Next on tap for the Super Nintendo is a game called On the Ball. Now this game is known by other names as well. It's from Taito. This game is also featured on one of those Taito classic arcade game editions on the PlayStation 2. It's on one of those discs. There's two of them. Uses two buttons, the L button and the R button. Think of it as if every level was the bonus stage from Sonic the Hedgehog. This game, as much as I love it, kind of gives me motion sickness. It gives my gut a sense of unease just watching it. But gravity pulls the ball down, and that's all it's going to do. And you have to accommodate with the walls of the device, this labyrinth or whatever you want to call it, to get the ball to the goal. It's just that simple, only it's not just that simple, because you're racing against the time clock. And the longer the stages go on, and you can get power-ups, you can get the bonus, get a couple of extra seconds here and there, kind of like a Marble Madness, but it's never enough to keep you going. And the blocks with the red X's on them, that'll actually decrease your time as well. So you want to not hit those as much as possible. Maybe if you do a better job than I can, then you'll be in good shape. And this game called On the Ball for the Super Nintendo, still relatively inexpensive. Did I say inexpensive? I meant inexpensive. Well, there you have it. So still relatively inexpensive. You can find a copy of it for cheap. I think it's pretty fun. And again, if you have a PlayStation 2, you can also grab it on one of those Taito Arcade Classic collections. Alright, next we're going to talk about Wiz and Liz. Now, Wiz and Liz, which gets the sophomore humor side of my brain laughing, is a blast processing. You run super fast in this game. However, the purpose is to kind of collect the bunnies or the rabbits or the animals or whatever, and then they turn into letters, and then you have to spell out the word that it's asking you to spell out in each level. How collecting bunnies that turn into letters to spell out words has anything to do with you being a wizard, I don't know the answer to that. However, I can tell you this game is pretty fun. It moves super, super fast. It has that look. It has that kind of like everything's animated look. Very colorful, very rounded edges, kind of like a European game, and I wouldn't be surprised if this game wasn't from the UK first. But it's just a fun game, and it's enjoyable, and it's for the Sega Genesis. You can find a copy of it for pretty cheap, and it's one that I think is worth checking out, and I would consider this a puzzle game because of the nature of what it is. So check out Wiz and Liz for the Sega Genesis. I would recommend it. From Wiz and Liz, we go to Fire and Ice. Now, Fire and Ice is a game I have featured on the Metal Jesus Rocks channel as one of my favorite Nintendo Entertainment System hidden gems. It is a little bit up there in price. However, if you have other ways of getting a hold of it, I would recommend picking it up. If you haven't seen the Hidden Gems video of what Fire and Ice is all about, it's the sequel to Solomon's Key, only in this game, you make ice blocks, and you use your ice blocks to vanquish the fire? Extinguish, I guess, would be a good word for it. And that's pretty much it. You can create the ice blocks or make them disappear if they are like on the floor level next to you. and you have to use that to your advantage. It's one of those games that starts out super, super easy and then goes super, super hard, super, super quickly. But after a few ideas and a few ways of making your ice blocks to defeat the, defeat the little balls of fire there, you'll be able to figure this game out pretty easily. However, I have still to this day never quite figured this game out to make it easy. But it's still a lot of fun too, and I'm a big fan of it. The game's called Fire and Ice, and I'd recommend checking it out. Check it out. And finally on this list, we have a game for the Atari 2600. One of my favorite systems of all time. Is the system that I grew up with, and this game is called Haunted House. I am such a big fan of this game, Haunted House. It's another game I would consider a puzzle game. Now, what it is you, which are your set of eyes, basically, you are in this haunted house. And the purpose of the game is for you to find the goblet, the urn, I'm not exactly sure. And then you bring it back to your starting point. And the torch is what makes it so you can find these hidden pieces of the device you're looking for. Now, along the way, you're going to find some enemies too. There's bats, there's ghosts, there's spiders. And if you get too close, then that's when the lightning will crack, the thunder will happen, and it will also blow out your torch. And you do have a finite amount of torches. But you need your torch to find the pieces, or else the pieces won't show up. Even if the piece is right there and you walk over it, you won't actually collect it unless your torch is lit. Neato. And then later on levels, if you want to get more of a challenge, you won't be able to see the walls. There will be doors in between the floors as well, and some of them are locked and some of them only open one way, and the enemies move super, super fast too, so there's a challenge involved. But again, one of my favorite games for the Atari 2600. Check it out. It's called The Haunted House. How much does it go for nowadays? I'm not exactly sure. I bet it's less than $5. And again, just another small amount of puzzle games that I love, and I'd like to hear from you. What are some other puzzle games that didn't make the list? I still haven't listed any of the games for the PlayStation 1. There's a whole lot of great puzzle games for the Neo Geo. I know that for sure, so let us know in the comments. Thank you for watching. If you haven't checked out the other puzzle video yet, check it out in the card. And I thank you for watching, and take care, and I hope to see you soon. We'll see ya.